Welcome back, Shalligators. Well, back to school is upon us, and if you're in a relationship or you have a crush or you met a dude this summer at camp or on a cruise or at Panera or wherever, you might be dealing with the prospect of a long-distance romance. Amazing! I myself am in one. Well, I'm actually in like 3. I don't think they watch the channel, but there's one that's stressing me out in particular. So I'm right here with you guys. We're going to talk about it because apparently Pete Davidson and Phoebe Dynevor. I don't watch Bridgerton. I'm going to go on a Bridgerton rant in 2 minutes. Countdown. They had been dating for the last 5 months. They were spotted out at Wimbledon in, I think, July, but it's over. And people are saying it's because of the distance. She lives in England. He lives in New York. I'm so sorry. He doesn't live in New York City. He lives in Staten Island. Okay? There's a difference. And it was just a Bridgerton. Why am I so funny? It was just a Bridgerton too far for them to make this relationship work. So I'm going to break down some of the awful things you guys are probably dealing with in terms of long distance, because if you're not fully in an LDR, this might kind of talk you down off the cliffs of insanity and be like, all right, maybe I'm going to rethink this. And if you are, I'm going to validate how you're feeling, because one of the things that's hard about long distance is how lonely you feel, because really you have the worst parts of being in a relationship. You can't go out and fuck other people. You have to check in. People are jealous. You have to communicate. But you also have the worst parts of being single. You're alone. You don't have a day-to-day partner. You're not getting laid. I don't do well with that. So this has been a long few months. Anyway, we're going to talk about that. Plus, most importantly, 4 ways to make long-distance relationships work based on a recent scientific study, mostly of college students, because 50% of college students, they estimate, are at one time or another in a long-distance relationship. So we've all been there, and so we're going to get into it. But before we do, there's a few spots left for my trip to the Dominican Republic. Go ahead and click the link in the bio. It's in February 2nd to the 6th. We're going to have so much fun. It's going to just be like 5 days of hang time with me, and we are planning some more trips in September. I'm so excited to announce a few more getaways for later next year. Can you guys guess where we're going? Where do you guys want to go? Where do you want to go? Because I mean, it's not carved into stone yet. We can still switch some stuff around, but I think you're really going to like the destinations we have picked out. Also, I just want to remind you guys, if you want to talk with me one-on-one, you're dealing with something, you need some advice, go ahead and head to my website, shallonlester.com, and click submit a question. I get back to you ASAP. I really like connecting with you guys there. It's super fun. And if you want a video shout out, birthday wish, anniversary, anything like that, just a pep talk over video, head over to Cameo and you can find me over there. So let's talk Pete Davidson and Phoebe. I fucking hate Bridgerton. Listen, I know, because you guys were like, please do a video on Bridgerton. And I was like, okay, we're going to do this. I love a period piece. I'm a horny bitch. I love sex scenes. And I was like, am I on the wrong one? Am I on like some bootleg version of Bridgerton? This can't be it. The costuming and the sets were the chintziest, polyesteriest, Party City clearance rack bin that they fished it out of thing that I have ever seen in my life. I'm like, is no one else seeing this? Has anyone who's watching the show ever seen a Keira Knightley movie? I love Pride and Prejudice. I love The Duchess. Oh my God, watch The Duchess. If you need to like feel the things, watch The Duchess. It's so amazing. And I went down this rabbit hole learning out about Georgiana of Devonshire, whatever. I could not get into Bridgerton. It was so visually corrupting and offensive to me, and I also felt like they were like forcing a lot of like wokeness in there, which I thought was stupid. Like, if it's a period piece, make a period piece, right? Also, people like, oh, but the sex scenes. I watch porn like a grown-up, okay? I don't need to like suffer through this visual assault. Grow up. But anyway, the chick in there, she's like tiny and cute and very British, and Pete is not cute or British. He is literally just jawline. He's just the jaw. He's just a jaw. He has a bunch of tattoos. I'm sorry, the more tattoos you have, the more unhinged you are. Not like if they're really cool, like cohesive in design, and they're like, if it's art. Pete Davidson's tattoos are not art. They're talk about a visual assault. They're like a menace. Like the way we present outside kind of reflects how we present inside. Like, oh, if you have these dark and moody tattoos, like, ooh, that's cool. Like you're edgy and artsy, cool. If you're like, this is my doodle pad. I saw a thing I liked one time at the airport, so I got it tattooed on me. I had sex with that girl, so I got her family tree across my back. How big could his dick possibly be to justify this? How big is your vagina? What do you have, the great never-ending vagina? It's not 9 inches deep. Why do you need a dick that big? And I don't even think his dick is that big. I really don't. You know what? I really don't. He's skinny, and they usually come big on skinny dudes, but I don't see, nope. Okay, so this is what reports are saying. So she lives in England. He lives in Staten Island. And clearly this is okay, so it's reported from the Sun UK. So the source is like, their mates think they make a great couple, but the distance has made it completely unworkable. They have fun and will remain close, but unless something drastic changes, their relationship won't recover. It was a wild ride while it lasted, and both really care for each other, but the distance has put a strain on them. Okay. You like that accent? Maybe I should do a whole video in just various accents. So I do believe it was wild while it lasted, because Pete is what he is. But this is kind of the nature of long distance relationships, right? They can be very, very intense, especially if they kind of like start long distance. You meet someone on vacation, you meet them at camp, you meet them like, I don't know, wherever. Because you're in vacation mode. And when we meet someone on vacation or vacation-like setting, we're kind of our best selves. There's no context. No one has to know that you have a bad girl reputation at school, or that he's actually like a nerd with no friends. Like, oh my God, you just connected in this really fun, amazing way. I'm sorry, I need to hold a pillow. Oh, that's so much better. That you connected in this way, like transcendent of like social status and schedules and the day-to-day bullshit of your life. It's like you just existed in this bubble of chemistry. But that bubble can burst, and that bubble can be really difficult to maintain. So I want to go through some of the reasons why it sucks. Because like I said, I'm going through this myself, and it's like, I think, I always say, guys are not good at anything. No, they're not good at anything. Well, but the only thing they are good at is compartmentalization. She's the slut, she's not dateable. She's the girl I'm going to marry, so I'm not going to fuck her right away. She's the girl I met on vacation, and we had an awesome time, but once I get on that plane, bye. Guys put things in little jars on shelves, right? And so if you're meeting someone long distance, or you were dating and then someone, whatever it might be, it's like you never know if they've compartmentalized you. And because they don't necessarily know all the time, like guys are not always the most self-aware, because they don't have to be, because we'll do all the psychological heavy lifting. Look at this channel. Look at why this channel exists. Is there a channel like this for dudes? No. Because guys don't give a shit. They're like, I have a wiener. Would you like it in your mouth? And we're like, oh my God, he has issues with his mom. Like, let's talk about it. Fuck, man. Anyway, what I'm going through is like, and I know you guys will feel this, like, what jar am I in? What jar am I in? Am I, that's wifey, and it's fine if we don't, like, see each other every single week because it's kind of not possible, like, because once I get this new position or whatever, like, we're going to make this work. Like, I love her, though, and she's number one. Is it, she's great when I see her. If she happens to pass through Toronto, like, okay, cool. Great. Is it, I really, really like her, but I also am, like, fucking most of Austin. So, yeah, like, she's cool, and I'll keep, like, texting her, kind of like breadcrumb. You don't know. And so you feel, and we talk about this when we talk about cheating. The reason cheating hurts and the betrayal hurts is because it means you've been making decisions based on a reality that doesn't exist. It's not actually a we, it should have been an I. Same with long distance. It's like, and for me, like, I have the means to travel to see people. I have the flexibility. I have the resources. Like, I can do that easily. Like, that's not a problem for me. And I work hard so that things that are problems for other situations aren't problems for me. And I don't know, it's like, okay, well, if I propose these things, do I look desperate? Do I look crazy? And they're like, whoa, bitch, like, we had fun at that music festival. Like, that's it. Or are they like, oh, amazing. You don't know. You don't know. And so it's like, I always say, like, am I looking for entrances and they're looking for exits? Have they already compartmentalized something where it's like, yeah, no, she's great, but like we're not in the same city, so it's not going to work. So I've walled myself off emotionally to how deep I'm going to let this go, to how much I'm going to share, to how much I'm going to invest. And guys are fucking spectacular at that. They're spectacular at this, like, whoa, nope, 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 nope. I was talking with one of my neighbors the other day, and him and his wife have been married for like 15 years, but he had a starter marriage. Like, they call it the first pancake. Have you ever heard that? 'Cause I was like, the pancake? He's like, yeah, you know, when you make that first pancake, it's like black on the outside and runny on the inside. You just know you're going to throw away that first pancake. I'm like, oh. But he's like, oh, I knew it was over the day we got married, or before, actually. I'm like, well, why didn't you call it off? He's like, I had a plan. And he's like, I stick to a plan. And if I'm like, this is what we're doing, or this is what we're not doing, that's how it's going to play out. And he's a very like cool dude. He's not like a weird robot nerd. And I was like, that is how a lot of dudes are. It's like, nope, non-viable. And the girl's like, well, no, I can drive. Nope, non-viable. Okay, well, I have a 600,000 points on never gonna work. Okay. Like, what do? Do you keep trying? I'm asking you, tell me. But like, one thing I went through, like, with one person, and there was a hierarchy to these people, but this one person was like, you know, I work like, I don't know, 80 hours a week. I didn't even know there were that many hours in a week. Honestly, I have no idea. He's like, and that's probably just going to get busier. And I'm sure that's like going to be a deal breaker for you. I'm like, that's actually a deal maker. You know, I work a ton too. My job is my life. I'm, you know, and I like meeting someone with that same work ethic. You know, I feel way less like alone in this world. And that, you know, especially in Montana, there's just not a lot of people who grind like that. And I mean, they do a lot, but it's just a different kind of thing. And I'm like, I also kind of like the distance. You know, I need my space. I need my bedtime. I need my routine. I don't need someone all up in my pieces all the time. Like, I couldn't really handle that when I had a boyfriend here. It was like, if I needed one night to myself to just be alone and do my face mask, I was like, I miss you. Where are you? I'm like, it was so annoying. So I'm like, I think that's kind of great. However, I'm in a different place in my life, you know, and my schedule is very unique. My biorhythms are very unique. So you might hate it, okay? So let's go through some of the reasons why it sucks. So, because if you're thinking we can make this work, okay, well, here's some reality. Here's some of the downfalls, the tar pits you're going to fall into. For one, lack of day-to-day context. You don't realize people who live in your city, you talk about so many things you have in context. The weather, local events, people you both know, your biorhythms are the same, the time zones even, you know, little things like that you don't think matter do. There's also the case of like the day-to-day bullshit of life. Squabbles about where we're going to go to dinner. Did you leave that toilet seat up? Who's staying up too late when the other person wants to go to bed early? I actually don't like your friend Tyler. And you might be like, well, that's a good thing we don't have that. Okay, yes, depending on what kind of relationship you want, you might deem that as like, great, I don't want that. I personally don't, because I find those little like mosquito stressors very, very just tiresome and draining. However, I'm not good at monogamy. I'm not good at stability. I wasn't good at being married. I don't like it. And it's because I don't like those things. And those little mosquito stressors are relationships, though. They are what create the fabric of actual partnership. They do. They do. My best friend said to me one time, love is logistics. Because I was like so infatuated with this dude. She's like, you honestly don't know him. Like, it's not the chemistry. It's how do you, we talk and we fuck. She's like, it's the little shit. It's, what do you mean you didn't pick up that package from FedEx? Now it's getting fucking sent back. It's shit like that. But like, can you work through those little things, you know? And if you are like me and you're like, I don't really care, I don't really want to. Okay, that's okay. I'm kind of in a, like, my own little like Disney fantasy with boys. It's like, I want the idea of you, but day to day, no. That's fine. But be honest with yourself about that. Be like, I actually don't have what it takes to sustain a day-to-day relationship. And that'll probably change. It's seasonal, right? I will want a partner eventually. I feel like I'm kind of like turning that corner. But it's okay. But just be honest with yourself. One of the biggest, of course, is communication. Now, women communicate to create relationships, build relationships. Men communicate to solve problems. And this is difficult in the best of circumstances. We all know what it's like when you just had a bad day at work and you're just bitching about your coworker and your boyfriend is getting like frustrated listening because he doesn't know what to like, he doesn't know how to solve it. And you're like, no, I'm not asking for a solution, Casey. I just want you to like, listen, I'm just venting. And he's like, what? Because women know, it's like, that's how we bond. We all get together and drink wine and complain. What else is friendship? There's another version. I don't want to know it. Dudes don't, you know, like that's just not how they operate. So even when you're IRL, that's tough. Long distance wise, it's even more difficult because like I said, you're not used to working out these little squabbles about where to go to dinner. And you also lack context. Like he might not know if like the guy you're complaining about at work is actually the guy you're fucking and it's like a romantic, like you don't know. So, okay. 7% of communication is words. Only 7. That's not true. I think it is. We use this example a lot. No, go ahead. I don't care. Go ahead. Has one meaning and no, I don't care. Go ahead. Go ahead. Totally different meaning, right? Because only 7% is words, right? 38% is tone of voice. The rest is body language. Now, true, we have Skype, Zoom, FaceTime, all that shit. But we can see like the on paper body language. I can see that he's looking at me. I can see what he's doing. But also, you lack energy. You lack that animal instinct, that intuition. You also lack the ability to be reassured with physical touch. Babe, I'm kidding. I love you. Hey, look at me. I'm squeezing your arm. I love you. Okay? I'm just kidding. You don't get to have that. It's like, you're kidding. Okay. Where are you? Are you in line at Target? Okay, just, I don't know. Call me back when you can focus. Very different. There's a lot of room and space for miscommunication and hurt feelings. And, I mean, we all have our different love languages, so this is important as well. Men's love language almost overwhelmingly is touch. They're very tactile creatures. They're very sexual. They're very visual, right? And so they rely day to day on the physical presence of their woman. We can go away with our girlfriends for a week to Ibiza. We're like, bye, motherfucker. And we're good. Like, we miss them. But hey, if they're texting us, if they're sending us pictures, if they're checking in, good morning, princess. I mean, at least for me, it's like, okay, like I feel good. Guys are like, like they need the physicality of it. And also the love language that they tend to give us is acts of service. So if they're not getting their love language, and because they communicate to solve problems and acts of service are problem solving, if they don't get to do that, they're like, I'm getting nothing and I'm not able to give anything. I have no place here. And it goes back to their ego. Who am I as a man? Like, what is this adding up to? What can I do for her? I don't like feeling like this. So I'm going to choose fucking Meredith, who's shitty, but she's physically touchable and I can go fix her dishwasher and feel like a man. So that's tricky. You know, it sucks. It's just sometimes you just need that physical presence of someone. Like, even though if it's not your love language, like, I was telling one guy the other day, I was like, if I could just like lay my head on your chest, like, it would do so much more than like all the snap streaks in the world and all the songs back and forth. Just to like breathe with someone and just hug them. It sucks and it feels lonely, you know, it's because you are alone. You're worse than alone. Like I said, you're the worst parts of being single and the worst parts of being coupled. It sucks. So there's other things. You're constantly grieving. You're both grieving because like you're on this roller coaster. You're like, I'm gonna see him, and then it's a loss, and it's tough assuming you're both on the same roller coaster. But then you go into the spiral. Maybe I'm not. Maybe he's like, bye, see you when I see you, and you're like dying at the airport. You know? And that's a whole secondary layer of spirals. There's the disruption of patterns. Someone comes to visit, and this happens a lot for military families. When they come back, it's like, the dog does not sleep in the bed. Okay? This is a big thing, you know, to try to integrate someone into your life because love is logistics. And then last but not least, you don't always know where you stand. It goes back to what I was saying. Entrances or exits. Like, I think I know who this person is. I think they miss me. I think I'm number one in their life, but maybe they're a fuckboy who's breadcrumbing me, and maybe I'm making decisions based on a reality that simply is not there. It simply isn't there. So what can we do? There actually are 4 key things you can do to make a long distance relationship work. So this is based on a study from Dargy et al. I don't have the exact title of the study because it's always really dry. From 2014, they surveyed 1,000 men and women. And, you know, we always wish they could survey like 5,500,000 people, like approximately 2 billion. But this is a pretty decent sample size as surveys and studies go. Sometimes the sample size is like 100 people. You're like, bro. Okay, so here's some things that they came up with. Number 1, lower your own stress rate. When we, to the surprise of no one, are feeling weak in our life, our health is off, we're not sleeping well, we're not focusing on school, whatever. We're a fucking nightmare to be around, aren't we? And we are the most desperate, the most clingy, the most jealous, the worst communicator, spiteful. And this is the kiss of death for a long distance relationship. I am happy in Montana. I have great friends. I have a great life. I might want a boyfriend, but I don't need a boyfriend. It's like, oh, I like you. I might even love you, but I don't need you. So you're not saving me. There's no emotional getaway car there. And therefore, that's why I'm much more tolerant of these long distance situations. I don't need to be saved from something. I'm not looking to like check a box and everyone needs to know that I have a boyfriend. It's okay. I have lowered my own psychological stress around being single and in my life in general. But if I'm being honest, when I was in this like spiral like a few months ago about somebody who was long distance, it's because things were not going well. I was slacking majorly. My health was bad. I was getting sick. And it's like, I did think like, I just want him to save me from this. And that's when I was like, Shallon, what do you do for a living, girl? You're going to save yourself. And I did. I cowboyed up. And then I was like, I mean, you're fine. You know, he's like only a state or 2 away. And I was like, you're fine. Number 2, plan visits. Now this sounds obvious, but hold up. There was a fascinating find in this study that people, the more distance you had between each other, the more likely your relationship was to work. Wait, what? Yes. The further away you were, the more likely it was to work. I was like, that can't be right. I read it like 5 times. I read like the finding in the study. Here's why I think that's true though. Think about it. When you have someone who's like an hour and a half away, if you're like, I really just need to see you tonight. And they're like, I'm kind of tired. You're like, okay. Hour and a half. You can't just fucking get in the car, put on some Girl on Top podcast, check it out, and just go. You can't just do that for me. You would understand that someone can't freestyle a trip to South Africa or to San Diego or whatever. But when it's just kind of close, like, well, what do you mean you're staying down to tailgate this weekend at your college? Like, why don't you come and see me? I don't care that it's a 6-hour train ride. Just like, come and see me. Also, because things can't be freestyled, people are more intentional a lot of times. Like, I'm going to see him for a month in Spain, and then he's coming out for Christmas, and then blah, 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 blah. Like, and I think that dials down the uncertainty, but we're going to get that. But yeah, it's like, because if people are putting skin in the game because they have to, because logistically you cannot just freestyle something, that makes you feel more reassured. And again, you're probably no longer making decisions based on realities that don't exist. You're both looking for entrances. Okay, so the next point, we'll get to it. Certainty. Foster a sense of certainty. And this is tough. This is tough because you know my advice. Never chase. Don't confess your feelings. Let a guy come to you. Let him go out on the emotionally risky limb. I like you. This is how I feel. How do you feel, right? But it's like, this is a situation I got into recently with one dude. My friends were like, I think you guys are in this like Mexican standoff where like neither one wants to like text the other person. And you're probably both thinking about each other. Like, so just reach out and say something. And I'm like, it's so contrary to my nature to be like, hey, I miss you. Do you miss me? But you have to do that to, again, ameliorate the possibility of the decisions based on a false reality. Stop looking for entrances if they're looking for exits. And, you know, I had to say that to one person. We've like kind of culled the herd a little bit, but I'm like, look, I can make this happen. Like, this is not a thing for me, but if it's just something that's like fun for you, see you when I see you, like, that's fine. But like, just let me know. And he was like, no, absolutely not. That's not it. I think it's actually horseshit, but whatever. We're not here to talk about me. But if I need to cyberbully one of these boys, then we will be. Just kidding. So the study also found that couples that see themselves as a team do much, 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 much better. And this is what's, okay. We're just, hold on. We'll get to the next one. Okay, so that's point 3. Point 4, positive mental attitude. Couples who have a positive attitude about this situation, like anything, are going to get through it better. Because love is logistics, but every relationship really is attitude. If you're in college and you're dealing with long distance, you might be like, this is the hardest fucking thing in the world. I've got news for you. Raising kids is harder. You know how I know that? I don't have kids because it seems too hard. Working is really tough. Dealing with in-laws. In-laws get old and they get sick. They even die. Do you know that? Old people, they die. Wars break out. People lose jobs. We get sick ourselves. Life only gets harder, right? And if we are approaching these situations like, ugh, like this dour, I just miss you, you're kind of already sunk. I remember when I was in college, or I graduated, my boyfriend's still in college. I've liked him young forever. He's only like 2 years behind me, but I made it a rule that like when there was a lull in the conversation and we were defaulting to, I miss you, we would hang up. Because like there was nothing left to say, so we would just get in this point like, I miss you. Nope. And he wanted to talk like every day. I was like, Ryan, I don't have anything to say. I'm a waitress. I went to work. I did nothing. I'm sorry. But again, like I've kind of always been built for a little bit of distance. I need a lot of alone time. I'm an only child. That's okay as long as I acknowledge it, which I only recently started to do. Ruined a lot of lives in the meantime. So this positive attitude is crucial, but also we have to temper it with realism. It is very, very hard to engage in a long distance relationship if there's no light at the end of the tunnel. Deployment, people come home, people graduate, they get out of grad school, people can move. If it's just like, no, I have a job here and you have a job here, your kid's school is there, like something's got to give. And you need to make sure that it's not one of those things like assuming the other person's going to change their mind on kids or getting married, where it's like, no, I assume he'll move out to Michigan. Means he said that? I don't know. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. We need to ask this of this other person. But again, it's like, you don't want to look crazy, but honestly, fuck crazy. Like if someone thinks it's crazy for you to be like, hey, am I wasting my time, my emotion here? Not in a desperate, like, I need you, but like, what page you on? If they deem that, whoa, she is so crazy. Okay, I'm crazy. At least I'm not wasting my time with a time waster. Like, only an actual crazy person would think that that was inappropriate. I think another adult would be like, I appreciate that they value their time and their emotion and their effort, and they don't just want to be spending it frivolously. What's wrong with that? If someone has so little respect for me that they're going to gaslight me for asking the fairest question in the world, I'd kind of rather know sooner than later. Wouldn't you? Again, reality that doesn't exist. So look at the reality of your circumstances, though. Is it going to change? It's one thing if you have a foundation of a relationship, you were together 2 years in high school, and now you're both at different colleges, or someone's working, someone's in school, that you can kind of like, you have something to build on, you have those logistics in place. If you don't, getting to know each other long distance, it's tough. It's really, as we are experiencing, it is tough. And it's hard not to get caught up in the fantasy of who someone is. The possibilities versus the actual person. Love's logistics. Fantasies are perfect and hard to get over. And if we're not careful, we create a hurt locker. I got very close to a hurt locker creation with one of these dudes. Wowee. But I'm self-aware enough that I'm like, no. This person is a signpost. He's not a destination. He's super fucking smart. He's super nerdy. You felt that because you felt seen because you're really nerdy. Okay. Let's incorporate more nerdness in our life. And he's going to be like a fun companion piece of that. Not this savior, not this getaway car out of, Montana where, yeah, people know a lot about antelope and elk, tires and stuff. But they don't know much about Stoic philosophy. So it can feel kind of, again, lonely. So I really encourage you to look at the reality of your circumstances. But also, don't burn bridges. Life is so long. It is so long. And I mean this in a good way. Like, I'm maybe going to go see someone that I met like 2 years, more than that. I don't even know, a long time ago on like a press trip. And we like hit it off and talked here and there. We almost met up in Europe one time. Like, I was in Portugal, he was in Wales, and I was like, oh my gosh, it would be so fun. But it's like, had I been like, well, this isn't going anywhere, and just like, meh, just let it burn. Give it some room to breathe. You never know. Paths cross, planes go all over the world all the time. Jobs change. So many people are working remote, going to school remote. I mean, truly, we are in such a state of flux that's giving us so much anxiety because it's a hellscape. But there's also an opportunity, like there isn't anything, to make this work for us and carve kind of a new reality. So you just never know. So even if you realize, like, I have to break up, like, this is not working, the jealousy isn't working, I'm miserable, break up clean, break up icy, break up ice fucking cold. This means no. It's not the breakup that hurts people. It's the shredding. It's the shredding afterwards. You know what I mean? It's the drunk phone calls. It's the drunk hookup. It's the, who is that in the background? What are you doing? Like, it's that kind of shit. It's stalking their IG and some girl makes a comment. I don't do a lot of things right in this world, but I ice out my exes like you would not believe. Like, they are dead to me. Not because I hate them. Sometimes it's because the opposite. I am trying to put them on ice. I'm trying to like cryogenically freeze this dynamic to maybe thaw it out again when the circumstances are better. If that truly is a problem. If it's logistical, I'm like, okay. I'm not going to have any crazy, insane, deranged text to them about my feelings. I'm not going to fly out to see them and cry on the doorstep. I'm not going to fuck their friends. Not going to do that. Friends are hot though. I'm going to put this on the deep freeze. I'm going to walk away clean. And I'm going to trust the process. I'm going to trust that everything's right on schedule. And holy shit, has that been hard for me lately. I mean, really hard. There's a reason I'm wearing this cross. Like, I just feel like I'm in this kind of like religious crisis of like, I just don't know that I trust like the process. Like, it's really hard for me. And dealing with these long distance dudes is kind of why. It's like, why are you bringing, you, God, the universe, whoever, why are you bringing these people into my life that I've been not like looking for, but praying for? Does that make sense? If it's not like, if there's like a compartment, why are you doing this? This feels like a horrible joke. So it can trigger a lot of things, these kind of dynamics. It really can. But again, some people are signposts. They're not destinations. That's okay. Some people are seasons. They're not evergreen. And some people, you got to put them in the deep freeze for a little bit. They're meant to show you like, okay. There, guys, I like this. It's not ripe yet. That's going to be a tasty ass peach. I can't ripen a person, let alone a piece of fruit. Just the opposite. I can't ripen fruit, let alone a person. So you just never know. So I'm trying to give the process grace and trust that things really are on schedule, and that, you know, work on something. Relationships take work, but when you feel like you're just white knuckling it and it's just eroding you and it's not making you happy anymore, you gotta walk away, as painful as it is. But again, trust that you're gonna get back together. I got back together with the dude I dated in high school and college when we were 25. My mom's best friend just remarried her first husband. She got married twice after that. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I hear stories like that all the time. One of my friends matched with this guy she went to high school with on Tinder. They've been dating for 6 months. They knew each other in high school. I dated a guy I met at a class reunion. It's like you never know. You never know. But if you can trust the process and trust that not only do we have to fall in love with the person, we do have to fall in love with the circumstances too. If it's just the person, then it's just chemistry. And if it's just the circumstances, well, then they're just good on paper. We have to allow both of those things to happen and let your psyche be heard. Let the universe be heard. Let your partner be heard. And let yourself be heard, speaking the truths you need and getting the answers to the questions you have to have. I want to know your thoughts on this. I forgot which celebrity we were even talking about. But come back tomorrow because we've got a video on Britney Spears. Her dad, Jamie, stepped down as conservator, and we're going to talk about how to be more independent, because I know a lot of you guys are dealing with going back to school or maybe back to work, and you're like, you know what? I want to carve out kind of a different me. So we're going to talk about that. I'll see you later, Shalligators.